It was supposed to be a peaceful Sunday. You know, the kind birds chirping, kids' laughter floating up from the yard, the dog rolling in grass, my wife flipping burgers, and me just breathing in that rare quiet that makes you feel like maybe, just maybe, all those years of busting your back for a piece of land finally paid off. But peace, in my experience, is always on borrowed time, especially when your HOA has a power complex and a logo that looks like it was ripped off a cop show. I've been wrestling with these people for months, maybe longer if you count the constant letters and finds me crimes, being stuff like parking my RV where I could actually see it, building a chicken coop my son named Fort Cluck, or, God forbid, refusing to hand over money for some community improvement nobody voted for. It's funny how fast little things can add up, how a peaceful Sunday can tilt into something out of a bad reality show with one knock at your door. I saw that black SUV rolling up, all official-looking, HOA enforcement decals shining in the sun like a threat. Out steps Dan Yep, that Dan self-proclaimed enforcer, always wearing too much cologne, acting like the county sheriff when really he's just a guy with a clipboard and a chip on his shoulder. Except today, he upped the ante. He's got a utility belt with gear hanging off it, even a taser, like he's playing dress-up as law enforcement. I just stood up, took my coffee with me, and walked out to meet him at the edge of my driveway. Me land. My rules. At least that's what the court said 2 weeks ago. Dan, I said, not raising my voice, just tired. We've been through this. You got no right to be here. There's a restraining order, signed, sealed, delivered. But Dan, of course, he's got this little smirk like he knows something I don't. You're violating code 12B, he barks. This grill setup is illegal. I'll have to write you up. My wife looks at me, nervous, and my kids, they stop playing. Everyone's frozen, waiting for what comes next. I actually laughed, maybe more out of disbelief than humor, and asked, my grill? Really? That's what you came for today? Dan takes a step forward, hand on his shiny new taser, and suddenly I realize this is more than a visit, it's a showdown, the kind where you can feel the whole neighborhood holding its breath behind closed curtains. I'm not asking again, he says, like he's reading from script. Shut it down, or I'll have to cite you. I just shake my head, tell him straight, Dan, you set foot on this property again, and you're in contempt of court. Here, let me show you. And I reach for the folded document in my back pocket. Restraining order, real judge, real signatures. That's when things went sideways. Dan lunges, fast nobody saw it coming, pulls the taser and fires, right there in front of my wife, my kids, the whole world. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground, muscles screaming, the sky spinning, my daughter screaming louder than I've ever heard, and my wife is on her knees beside me, blocking Dan's view like she's the last shield I've got. Dan starts barking orders, all fired up, yelling at my wife to move, acting like he's breaking up a riot, except the only riot is the one he started. Then my wife, shaking with fury, snatches up the restraining order I dropped, shoves it in his face and screams, "Read it! Look what you just did, you idiot!" The power in her voice, it made even Dan freeze. He looks at the paper, reads the court seal, the judge's name, the big bold letters. HOA is to have no access or enforcement rights on this property effective immediately. You could see the color drain from his face, like he finally realized he was in a whole new kind of trouble. He backs up, stammering, "I wasn't told," but by then, neighbors are outside with phones up, recording every second. Nobody's siding with Dan now, and even the birds went silent. I managed to get up, shaky but alive, adrenaline burning off the pain, and all I can think is, you just assaulted a protected citizen, Dan, right in front of witnesses while violating a court order. He doesn't answer, just stares, then runs to his SUV like a rat caught in daylight, peels off down the street, tires squealing, the whole neighborhood watching. Monday morning, Dan's little HOA badge is gone just like that. The president of the HOA calls, suddenly all polite, asking if we can resolve things amicably. Yeah, right. By noon, my lawyer had filed charges: criminal trespassing, assault, violating a court injunction. This time, Dan's not dealing with a parking ticket. He's facing real consequences. And me? Well, let's just say I upgraded. New fence, security cameras on every corner, and a big sign on the gate that says, "Private property. Court protected. Enter at your own risk." Every Sunday, I fire up that same grill, maybe a little closer to the cameras, just in case Dan's got friends, but I do it with my family by my side and a cold drink in my hand because I'm not letting fear run me off my own land. And you know what? The funny thing is, after all the noise and the lawyers and the chaos, neighbors I'd never talked to started coming by asking questions, telling me about their own run-ins with the HOA, some small, some worse than mine. Turns out, I wasn't the only one sick of being pushed around. The whole street's talking now, sharing footage, sharing stories, realizing we've all been bullied in one way or another, just waiting for someone to stand up first. Maybe that's how these things change, not with one big victory, but a bunch of regular folks refusing to back down, one barbecue at a time. So now, every time I flip a burger or see my kids chasing the dog through the yard, I remember that Sunday and think, yeah, it cost me, but it was worth it. And if you've ever been pushed around by a person or a system that thought they were untouchable, you know exactly what I mean. But hey, maybe you disagree, maybe you think rules are rules, even when they don't make sense, or maybe you've had your own fight for your rights and lost, or won, or are still stuck in the middle. So I gotta ask, where's the line? When does standing up for yourself become the thing that changes your whole community? Or is it just another story for the porch, another you wouldn't believe what happened to me tale? Let me know, have you ever gone toe-to-toe with an HOA, a boss, a neighbor, anyone who thought they owned you? Drop your story below. Tell me what you'd have done different, or what you think real justice looks like, because I think this conversation's just getting started.